Junkie Nation, what's going on? Gorgeous George and Goes, always delivering the big names in MMA. Today we get to talk to Douglas Lima, a former champion at Bellator in the welterweight division, a former tournament winner, Grand Prix winner. The guy's a stud. He's been doing it since 2011 with Bellator, over 20 fights. And now he gets down in the middleweight division against Costello Van Steenis. It's this Friday, May 12th, with an early start time because they are in Paris, France. So 12 p.m. Eastern, prelims on YouTube. The U.S. broadcast will be on Showtime. Welcome back, Douglas. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. So middleweight allows you to what? Eat more, consume more calories, less mental stress. Tell us what that helps out with.
Well, you said it. Everything. Focus just on training. You don't focus a lot on losing the weight. So it's been really a good thing. I've been training a lot more and focusing more on training. And getting better. I always had terrible weight cuts. At 170, terrible, and just kept getting worse. And at this age, I think middleweight will be the best thing for me for sure. So decided to make the move.
So this is a permanent move.
Yeah, I believe so, man. I don't think I can make 170 again. I mean, I can, but man, I don't want to go through that process. If I really have to, then I will. But I'm not thinking about 170 again, man. That was such a terrible weight cut. Like I said, it's getting harder as I get older. I'm 35 right now, and I think middleweight is it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just to avoid any embarrassment or anything, behind you, what's going on there? Because we can kind of see something, but I'm not sure.
It's a hallway right there, so I guess there's people next to the window because
Oh,
Oh,
this is
okay.
a couple room that we
okay.
have.
I thought maybe it was some female in a restroom getting ready to shower or something. I don't
It looks
know.
like but there's just people in the hallway. I guess they're talking there. We're inside the little room.
Oh,
Right?
got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it looks like they moved. All right. Well, we're all good. All right. Well, now can you go harder in training? Is it also helping with less injuries? Maybe I hear that sometimes that allows the fighter to go a little bit harder. But then again, at the same time, you're also going with bigger dudes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, go harder, but like I said, it's bigger guys, so it's much more weight that we carry. But man, like it feels good. My body feels healthy. At middleweight. Of course, there's always those little nagging injuries that we always get, but man, it feels good, man. Lifting weights, mixed with the training, so it's been a good training camp. I like this weight.
I mentioned that you're now in your 20s in terms of how many fights you've had
Yeah,
with Bellator. It's been a long career.
yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, along the way, did you ever have opportunities to go to to PFL, to UFC? Were you ever a free agent, or did they always lock you down? And did you always just give them the first option?
Mhm. Yeah, man, I was never really a free agent. We always renewed, before the contract finished. And I think we did it twice. So there was never an option, to talk to somebody else. But yeah, I can't complain. Here with Bellator, they always took really good care of me. I never thought about, unless I was like a free agent, then I would say maybe go here, go there, but it never happened. So and like I said, they treated me good. I have no complaints. So that's how it always was.
Bellator has had, with the Grand Prix, it's really helped the profile of the athletes to stake a claim as being either the top welterweight in your case,
Mhm.
or middleweight, bantamweight, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever may happen, because the tournaments have been very competitive. So
Mhm.
now that you're a middleweight, you're in the division where Johnny Evelyn is now the champ.
Yeah.
Johnny's saying he's the number one middleweight in the world right now. Israel Adesanya just defeated Alex Fajeda,
Yeah.
over in the UFC. What are your thoughts as far as that's concerned? Amasov has made the same claim.
Yeah.
You've made the same claim. Pitbull. What are your thoughts on that? I think people would really take your opinion serious because of how long you've been doing this, how many people you fought and defeated, and then you also have a brother that's competed in the UFC. So what are your thoughts on those claims that are made by some of the athletes that have won the Grand Prix and they reached that pinnacle?
Man, we as fighters, we know, of course, Johnny Evelyn, I think he can beat anybody in the world, and I think he can beat Adesanya as well, same with Amosov. But regular fans, I don't think they will understand that, because of course UFC is a lot bigger, such a bigger name, more depth, in the division because there's a lot more fighters. But I don't know, man. Unless you're a real hardcore fan, you understand the sport, you know what I mean? Unless you're one of those guys, you're gonna be saying, nah, UFC is where it's at, they're the best in the world. But you know, of course I've always said it, man, we can't compete with anybody, UFC champion, one champions. For me, it's like the level is the same, everything is the same. Of course, there's some guys that's a lot better than the other, but man, of course, I think the Bellator champions here can compete with any champions in any other division. And I agree 100%. With Johnny, with Amasov, they're killers, man. If you don't think they have a chance against the champions there, you're big mistaken. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
I'd like to see Patchy Mix against Aljamain Sterling now.
You see,
both coming off recent big wins. That's the one most currently I really would like to see.
Yeah. I like to see myself too against, Leon or one of those guys. Amasov is legit, man. That guy's good.
Do you already know how many fights it would take you to get to Johnny Evelyn? Are you even worried about Johnny Evelyn at this point?
No, man. Like I'm in a position where I can't call out anybody, man. I'm coming off some losses. I'm focusing on this guy first, and then we'll see what happens after. But I am fighting a guy that's got a win over Edwards, that's fighting Musasi. Whoever wins there fights for the title. So for me, I don't think I'm in a position to call out anybody. But get a good win right here. We're definitely gonna be asking for fights like that. But as of right now, I'm just focusing on him. That's what I gotta take care of first.
Mm-hmm.
Douglas, is that though what drives you? Gaining another title, or is it more stacking paychecks? What would you say drives you at this point here?
Man, for me, it's always the titles. That's what you're in the sport for. Of course, if you want money, you gotta win. And title is where it's at. Champions, get a better pay for sure. But not only about the money, man. Like being a champion is where it's at. That's what I always strive for. That's what I always try to, fight and be known. Is that as a champion. I got the belt here so many times. Lost, win again. The tournament. But yeah, wherever I'm at, I'm looking for the belt. So one step at a time, though. I can't jump ahead. I got a really tough fight ahead of me, and focusing on him first, and then we'll see what happens after.
I think ever since the first time we've spoken to you, you've always been very calm and patient when it comes to your career, and things have come to you. Mm-hmm. At this point, do you feel the same way? Is that kind of like that same feeling as far as stress and all that? Is it just one fight at a time, or is there a little bit of rush right now?
I mean, it's always one fight at a time. It's like nothing changes. I just want to stay more busy. Hopefully get a good win here and get right back. In the cage again, because I like to stay busy. Back in the days, it should be 3 or 4 fights. There was a year that I fought 7 times, not with Bellator, but I'm just saying. It's like performances, I think, is always better when you're competing more. I think 3 fights a year would be perfect right now. My last fight was like a year ago. So I just want to stay more busy. I think that'll be the best way to even perform better.
George had talked about how many fights you've had with Bellator, and if you could go back and talk to Douglas Lima, his first fight in Bellator, and give him any advice for the career, what would you tell yourself?
Keep working hard, because it only gets tougher. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like competition, man. Competition every day is getting better. You know, guys are getting better. You know, a lot better wrestlers, a lot better strikers. So I guess staying focused is the main thing. You know, staying focused on getting better. You know what I mean? Because every fight is gonna get harder. You know, the more you go, you know, the further you get. You know, the tougher the opponent, the tougher everything gets. So you know, keep your head straight, keep training hard. You know, that would be my you know what I have to say for them.
How many belts do you have between MFC, the Bellator tournaments, the
Mhm.
Grand Prix, the undisputed that you won multiple times? How many belts do you have at home?
At home, six together, six world titles. My goal is
Wow,
always 10. You know.
very impressive.
Yeah,
What,
if I had a belt on those first three tournaments, you know, that would be good. But they started doing belts when Scott Coker came over. Uh,
mm,
so there's two more belts that I'm missing for the tournament. So
yeah,
I wish they
so
did
you'd
belts
have eight.
days, man. So that would be
Wow.
eight. Yeah, that would be eight total. Yeah,
What moment or moments are you most proud of?
I think the last tournament would be the one. You know, where Koreshkov for the third time, and then MVP and Rory on the rematch. Yeah, that was the biggest one. That tournament was huge. And it was hard, man. Hard tournaments. You know, went through a lot in that, but you know, able to win that one. That was a good one for me. You know,
Do
first
you
one of
think,
the $1 million tournaments too. You know, since they started doing it.
PFL says their tournament, their regular season is the toughest in sports. The
Mhm.
UFC says the going through the Ultimate Fighter is the toughest tournament in sports. And you've done a Grand Prix and you've done the early tournaments in Bellator, and I'm sure you would have a similar claim.
Yeah.
But if we leave the Grand Prix to the side, which was impressive, and it was
Mm.
a big payday for you, and you won the Undisputed and the Grand Prix belt. Talk
Mhm.
about those early tournaments. They were like every 30 days, weren't they?
Yeah,
That's
they were.
crazy. You
Yeah,
did three fights in 60 days.
three fights. They were the toughest for me, you know, because like I said, man, I was walking around 200, 205 pounds. You know, I make weight, and then 4 weeks later, I had to make weight again. So it's just that, man, that was terrible. Terrible. That was one of the toughest thing I did. I think it was the early tournaments. Because, like I say, I think it was every 4 weeks, every month, you know, there was a fight, you know, and mixing the training, cutting the weight, and all of that, man, that was terrible. You know, one of the hardest thing I've done. It was good, though. It was good. Like I said, I stayed busy, you know, a lot of fights back to back. So it was really good, but that was not easy, you know.
Those tournaments, I remember. I think the first couple of years they were giving 150,000, and then 100,000, and then eventually you guys got to the $1 million payday. So you went through that whole era of seeing the company grow. You had two bosses. Did you get along with Bjorn Revney back in the day? How was your relationship with him?
It was good. It was good with him, man. Honestly, I never had maybe my manager had problems, but that I don't know, you know. But as far as man with me, I never had any problems, you know. But it
Mm-hmm.
was good, you know. Like I said, I did two of those tournaments, which was 100,000, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then $1 million. So it's good to see the growth, you know. I wish those first two was $1 million as well, but you know,
Yeah, exactly.
that would make
Um,
everything better.
you
Yeah.
know, Patricio Pitbull's going for his third title in
Yeah.
three different weight classes. He's
Yeah.
won tournaments. He's won a Grand Prix. Or actually, did he win? No, he may have lost. He lost the featherweight Grand Prix, and I
Yeah.
don't know if he's been in
$1.
another Grand Prix. But he's got like 7 title defenses, and you have some as well. But I
Mhm.
wanted to ask you. A lot of people refer to him as the greatest fighter in Bellator history.
Yeah.
Ryan Bader's won multiple weight classes. He's had title defenses. But you
Mhm.
had, like I said, everything I mentioned and that longevity. Where do you think you fit in terms of the greatest talent that Bellator's ever created? And do you feel like you belong with those names?
Yeah, maybe top three. You know, who knows? I'm for sure. Patricio is ahead. You know, that guy's a killer, man. Especially if he wins this third belt. You know, he's always winning. You know, he's fighting a lot. So I'll put him at number one for sure. But yeah, I can put myself up there too, man. You know, I wouldn't say the number one. You know what I mean? you know, whatever the ups and downs, blah blah blah. But I've done some good stuff here with Bellator. You know, like you said, the 3 tournaments, the titles. Yeah, I'll put myself up there. Not the number one, you know.
But the Mount Rushmore of Bellator fighters, the 4 faces, you're on the Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would. At least me, I would put myself there. Come on, I've done some things.
Let's finish. We got probably Bader, Pitbull, Lima, and then maybe McKee or Chandler, one of those guys as well.
Maybe one of those two, yeah, because Chandler did a lot too before he moved.
Yeah, he won the belt 3 times. He won a tournament.
Yeah, 3-time champion. That's true. Yeah,
and McKee, you know, he did his run in the Grand Prix, and now he's going, and he still has more to accomplish. Obviously,
yeah,
with
he's younger. Yeah, he's younger, so he's still got a lot more to accomplish. I mean, he's doing really good too. Going off to the 2nd tournament right now, right? So yeah, definitely another one to put up there.
Now this is going to get published. What happens if Chris Cyborg calls you and goes, "Hey man, why'd you leave me out of the Mount Rushmore of Bellator?"
I mean, she's new to the organization, but man, as far as MMA overall, of course she's up there, man. Cyborg,
yeah.
Is a
killer, are you gonna say, man, George and Goes, they got me in some trouble. Go talk to them.
That was not me. That was George and him.
Yeah, she might get us too. When we think
she's
about
gonna get out, not me, man. I'm out of it. I just answered the question.
Chris, desculpa, fala con George e Goes do MMA Junkie Radio.
You know it. Nah,
yeah. All right. This was fun, man. Hopefully we took your mind off the weight cut. I'm sure it's not as bad as the welterweight weight cuts, but weight cuts are weight cuts.
Yep.
And you can focus on Costello Van Steenis on Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, folks. The prelims are on YouTube, and then change it over to Showtime channel 545 if you have DirecTV like Goes and I, and tune into these fights. They have a really fun card for you, including Gegard Mousasi and Fabian Edwards. Brett Pimas is back. Douglas Lima is back. Saul Rogers. A lot of big names. Kyle Stewart. You got to check it out. And Douglas, we thank you so much for the time, as always.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Take care. See you.
Thank you.